Hello, welcome to the Dear Encourager podcast, where real stories meet radical hope. Hosted by Vanessa Scott and Keisha Nix. This space is made for anyone navigating the journey of chronic illness and caretakers seeking connection, compassion, and a community that gets it. Each episode, we bring you conversations that uplift, strategies that empower, and encouragement you can carry with you throughout everyday life. Let's grow stronger and healthier together.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing today? And I want to thank you so much for tuning in to our Thursday night chat. This is Keisha.
This is Vanessa. Welcome back, everyone. We're super excited to have you here today.
Yes, and we are very excited to have my pastor. Yes, I'm bragging just a little bit. We have Pastor Gaylon Clark here with us today, and he's going to be talking to us as we continue to observe Men's Mental Health Month. And I just want to say that a little bit about Pastor Clark, as we love to call him PC. PC has been leading Greater Mount Zion, or as we like to say, GMZ, for 21 years. He leads a congregation that is a little over 3,000 members. And under his leadership, he has launched initiatives such as the Greater Food Pantry, clothing drives, financial assistance centers, and even a medical clinic in Kenya. He's passionate about city transformation, focusing on relationship-driven ministry, mentoring men, and teaching expository, life-oriented messages. He holds a degree from Dallas Baptist University and Dallas Theological Seminary. Beyond the church, he actively engages civic and mental health efforts, hosting community panels and interviews on mental wellness, and opening Greater Mount Zion as Austin's community living room during pivotal community events. So thank you so much again, PCE, for being here with us. And yes, we're going to start off and just let you just first say anything that you want to say to those who are watching.
Well, first of all, let me just thank you for inviting me. You didn't have to do it. And I'm just thankful to be here and to be sharing this moment when we are honoring the mental well-being of men. And this is a matter that is dear to my heart. And I've got lived experience with the need for that. And to whatever extent I can just hang out and we can share in ways that matter to people. Oh, I just celebrate that.
We appreciate you. Definitely. We're going to be talking about brothers keepers, faith, healing, the men we love. And I'm not just going to say the men we love. I'm going to say the males, because this is dear to my heart, because I have a young son that I'm raising, and I want him to be a man, but I also want him to be in tune with his emotional and mental side. So this is definitely very dear to my heart.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So
I'm ready to talk about it.
we want to first start off talking about the unseen battle, what men carry in silence. So, what type burdens do you believe men carry silently that even their closest loved ones don't even see?
Yeah. I think most men are lonely. They're friendless. They have relationships, but they really don't have relationships. The average man struggles to find the language to express their emotions, to find the language to tap into real humility. As guys, we tend to struggle with this thing called vulnerability.
Yes.
We tend to think that's antithetical to mature manhood. And even after all of these years of what we tend to think of as emotional maturation of our culture, the reality is that men struggle to share freely. And whenever there is an inability to communicate, I'm disconnecting from myself. I don't really know who I am until I can talk to you enough about life and your life to hear you in order to discern, who am I? I understand who I am in the face of other people. And as guys, we understand who we are as we share stories with other men. Well, we often talk about men need men, and they do. They do. Now, I'm not suggesting that it don't take a man, or that you know how they used to say, well, they still say it. It takes a man to raise a man. Now, I realize that not everybody has that option. But I tell you, every man needs to feel sponsored by a man, needs to be validated by a man. And often we carry this burden of loneliness because we have never felt like been taught to be men. What is a man? And so this sense of
Yes.
inadequacy is pervasive, and we don't know what to do with it. We don't know who to tell about it. And we don't have other men to process it with. All right. I know I just said a lot right there. I'm so sorry. I'm so
No,
sorry.
you did, but you said a lot what needed to be said, especially from women who have husbands, who have sons, who interact with men on a daily basis. And we struggle because a lot of times we're putting all our emotions and feelings out there and we're wanting to express ourselves. And then we can see that there's something that you're struggling with, that you are going through, and we're trying to pry it and get it out. And then that's when you're still shutting down, and then we get frustrated and we don't know how to communicate and still be caring, because we're here, I hear you, I got you. And then it's just like, no, you don't, because we can see that wall. Because as you just said, even though you've been raised by a man, but you haven't necessarily been taught what is a man and how to be a man and express that openly with not just your family, but I think just within yourself. And that vulnerability, and see it as weak. And we've been taught so long from grandfathers and great grandfathers, just, generational, what I call generational dysfunction, that to show your emotions or have emotions is to be weak and not to be a man. And I think that's one of the things that we need to rip apart, rip away from our men so they can be more vulnerable. But the question is, how do we do that? So you're not constantly struggling in silence and by yourself.
There are some things, though, that a man does not want to process with his wife until he is comfortable in his manhood. There is a sense of inadequacy that men feel when they have to depend on their wives to understand their own reality. There's a sense in which, and if y'all been in relationships with men, y'all are married, y'all know what I'm trying to say. A guy can tell a guy something, but he won't let his wife tell him. And isn't it the same way around?
Mm-hmm.
A woman can share with a woman some things, but there are some things that a man can't tell his wife because he don't quite understand what it's like to function in with the profile of a woman. We want to fix stuff. We want to fix stuff. And we want to help you find a solution, don't we? Yeah, that's what we want to do. Well, think about it in reverse. When we feel like we don't know what to do, we don't talk.
Yeah, definitely shut down.
As men, we go into our cave because the average man don't want to tell you what he hasn't figured out himself.
Or can't tell you what you just said. So if I haven't figured it
This is
out,
that.
I don't know. So I can't tell you.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
can't tell you.
insightful.
That's right. And because he does not want to share something that like is just not true or that is not informed. He has to process it himself. Oftentimes men don't have, like, we don't have but a couple of emotions, right? We happy and we mad. Okay. Our emotional color wheel, it don't have a lot of colors. And so, we happy, we upset, we angry, or, I'm good, right? No, that's a oversimplification. But the reality is we don't tap into organically sometimes our emotions. Now, here's the thing. Part of that is being a man. I tell, when I'm doing counseling, I tell ladies, he ain't got that many words. You think
You got
that
to
he
decode
really
it.
thought through this? Yes, that's the answer. No, maybe. That's really all he got a lot of times. And a man usually, now this is not true. I talk a lot, so I'm probably one of the exceptions to this rule. But the average man just ain't got he don't have as much to say as his wife, his girlfriend. He don't have as many words in a day. And so a lot of times we can think that men are holding out on us. No, they're not holding out. They just ain't got nothing to say. And then sometimes they're not ready to say what it is that they could say because they have not processed it themselves, or maybe they feel ashamed, you know.
Yeah.
I could, yeah. So I don't know if I tapped into what
You
you
you did,
were
you did. So
discussing.
I would have my posing. I just have. So we know that a lot of men struggle with it and process. What would be two things that you could share with us that to share with men to help them just go to step one and step two? Not for us, but for them to gain insight. And so, you know, unfortunately, men are more successful. More women try and attempt suicide, but more men actively commit suicide because of this pain that they're dealing with in silence. So I would just ask so we can encourage and help men, just what would be one or two things that you could help them to start the process of peeling that away from them?
Yeah. Now I'm going to say this. It's going to seem like it's overly simplistic.
Okay.
Stop trying to fix him. That starts there. He just needs to be loved just like you. Sit with him. He not always ready to talk, but he's still a man. He's a good man. He's hurting. Just loving that man who's in your life. Here's the next thing I would say. Help him, encourage him to have real relationships with people, with other men, with other couples, because often we grow through what we experience, right?
Yes,
Grow
absolutely.
through the people we experience.
Yes,
And often we need a different vision of manhood.
absolutely.
I do small groups with guys. I got 2 small groups, and the average age of these guys about 32. And it's amazing how the lights come on when they just sit down with somebody they respect. And these people that they're engaged with, not just me, they got the same challenges, the same fears, the same problems. And they did not know that there was a community of men who would freely talk about these things that are challenging to them. And they talk about their hopes and their dreams, and they talk about navigating life as an African American man. Well, when they see that, they realize, wait a minute, I'm not alone. And they can cultivate regular, healthy relationships. Now, I think, directly what women can do, obviously, is just be there to listen. But often, the more I push, the more that man, what does he do?
Pull away
There you go.
or
There you
shut
go. He
down.
pulls away. He
Yes,
shuts down
yes, yes.
because he's not ready to talk yet.
Right.
Men go into caves. They're going to go into their cave and they're going to figure it out. And then they'll come back and talk after they've had cave time. And often we have to let guys just go into their cave
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I thank you and I appreciate you for helping us be able to help them. I'm also thinking about the single men who don't have a wife or don't have a significant other in their life to encourage them. Because I'm thinking of, I have brothers who are single. I have other males in my life who, as you say, I can, and I'm a counselor and I can tell them all day long, hey, this, that, and the other, do this, do that. And it's not received. So I get it with encouraging them to be like with these groups, but it's hard to
Everybody ain't
get
gonna do it.
men
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
to go in and seek that, like, and and some of our males who have some of their homeboys are in the same situation they are in, so they're not able to help and pull them up. So those are the people that I'm wondering if you could speak to them. What words would you be able to help them to just take a step? Because I know there's a lot of men out there hurting for many different reasons. And how would you encourage them? Because we know it's very hard to get men to counseling, to seek out group help. How would you open that up to them, encourage them to take that step?
As a woman,
No,
or
just them,
okay.
period. A single male who may not have these other men in their life, mentors or anything like that. Someone that is watching Dear Encouraged by happenstance and they see you. What you got for them?
Well, let me. I just have an open heart because at the end of the day, they need connection. But now here's the other thing: men feel competent when they are able to conquer something, and so we feel better about life when we're doing well with our career. A woman like measures her worth in terms of relationships often. And men, we intuitively, instinctively measure our well-being in terms of success, career success. What can we do that we can do skillfully? What can we do with our hands? And so how do we provide for our families? And so I think that's a good place to begin because a man who feels competent, he's more apt to open up in other ways. And so helping a young man to find what he wants to do and to discover who he really is. Where are his gifts? What is he passionate about? What are his dreams? It's not starting at in a way that is directly dealing with his emotional challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a mental well-being matter, is for a man to discover his superpower. What does he do well?
I like that. And we all have a superpower. So
I
helping that
agree.
person find successes is what I heard you say, and helping him know that he is great within himself and
Yes.
owning into that
Yeah.
is the first one of the most important steps. So he knows.
Yeah. And here's the thing that I didn't say earlier. One of the best things as wives, as sisters, as aunts or mothers that we can do is to help men fulfill their potential and to encourage that. A guy often looks at relationships in terms of, is this helping me to be who I want to be? And most of the time that don't start emotionally. That starts with my own definition of what does it look like to be a man. And usually that has something to do with competency, that has something to do with his mastery of something. It has something to do with being able to provide. And sometimes, let's just be real, if they've got bling dreams, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
got it's got something to do with being, in a space that they perhaps have been dreaming about financially.
Mm-hmm.
But tapping into that which makes them feel competent is huge.
Okay.
I also think men need a definition of manhood. Um, we were talking about, yes,
Their
yes,
own definition, not mine, not their mama's, their
that's right.
definition, because I think a lot of times that's where some of the disconnect comes. Because if I'm always trying to be what you want me to be or what my mama wanted me to be or what they told me I should be, then I don't have that sense of what it is I'm supposed to be and what I want to be.
Can I give you a definition of manhood?
Yes, I'm going to write it down too. I'm ready. Give it to me.
Okay. So first of all, a man rejects passivity. We're talking about manhood. A man rejects passivity. Often, one who's developing in his manhood is passive. He lets other folks say what they're going to say, do what they're going to do. Sometimes he listens, but he does not pass it. He does not actively seek out what he needs. So a man rejects passivity. Here's the next one. A man accepts responsibility for his own actions. A man embraces the fact that he has the ability to respond, the ability to shape his life, the ability to make healthy decisions, the ability to positively impact his part of the world and those people that he loves. Here's another one. A man leads courageously. Men take ownership of the well-being of others, the well-being of their wives, the well-being of their families. Men lead, they lead courageously. And here's the next one. Men invest eternally. If God is our creator, then we cannot define manhood in a way that is not tethered to a relationship with God. A man realizes that there is somebody bigger and stronger and more powerful than he is. And it is from this relationship that he even finds more courage. He even finds a greater sense of ability to respond. He taps into a sense of self-worth that helps him to overcome passivity. And so having a healthy understanding of what men do is encouraging to them, because often, they don't have that downloaded into them, right? You mentioned earlier about ladies trying to give men definitions of manhood, or men not giving them a definition of manhood or an understanding of manhood. A lot of times men don't know either. They, if they have not been taught that, they cannot summarize it in ways that really, really matter.
Since we've been talking about the men's definition of manhood and how women can't define it in reference to the church and people who do need to seek therapy, how do you think that the church could be more supportive of men going to therapy? We've asked that before. We had Dr. Bunton on last week, and we asked her how she did it with her church. But because you have the men who some feel that that's not manly to go to therapy, so from a church standpoint or Christianity and a believer standpoint, how do you think we could support men who?
You have to amplify the stories of those who have gone. And you need respected men to talk about mental well-being and to talk about it as being a source of empowerment. But it doesn't have to be just taught. It needs to be put in a story, right? Allow people to share their experiences with God so that there is a living, breathing person that they respect or whose story they respect, sharing with them their own mental health journey. Keisha, here at Greater Mount Zion, because I struggle with depression, I've shared my story. And for somebody they respect to go through it, live through it, be resilient, and still function as a leader, that really matters. So it begins there, but also, you have to make it available. We have to normalize and destigmatize.
Yes.
All of that can be seen as feminine if you don't have men speaking into that.
Yes.
And so that becomes very, that becomes very important. Yeah. So
And that's why it was so important for us to get you on here today and talk about it and speak on it. And I appreciate you being so open and honest and just being, for a better word, just naked out here for everyone to see. And you are respected and you are still doing this thing and you're leading effectively. So I applaud you. I appreciate you. And as you just said, it takes more men that are respected to speak on it, to encourage more, like you said, encourage, empower men to be the men that they were designed to be. So I truly appreciate you. As she said, PC, you have definitely gave me a lot of insight that I will definitely be sharing with others. And I just thank you for just being a gem to the men that you are mentoring, to your congregation. I am so honored to have gotten to know you and speak with you today.
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Appreciate you.
And thank you all for joining us. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and definitely come on every Thursday. We are here. DM us. We are always available. Please remember, dearencourager.org is our website. And we are a nonprofit. So please, if you are willing to give to us so we can continue to do this great work.
Yes. We appreciate it. Thank you all for joining, and we hope to see you all next week.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, PC.
Bless you.
Thanks again for tuning in to Dear Encourager. We hope today's episode brought you comfort, strength, and a reminder that you're not alone. Your support helps us grow this space of hope and healing, one listener at a time.